Stay safe, reduce your contacts. Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead. Aherne. Today's top stories: pregnant women who've had COVID-19 are being asked to come forward if they've any concerns about the well-being of their baby. The level of COVID-19 is continuing to fall in every local electoral area in Waterford. And in sport, the IHRB is holding its hearing into the Gordon Elliott photo controversy. Cases of stillbirths among women who contracted COVID-19 may need to be re-examined. It's emerged that 4 recent stillbirths may have been a result of an infection linked to the virus, as Casey O'Riordan reports.
COVID placentitis is when the placenta becomes infected with COVID-19 and interferes with how it functions. The 4 suspected cases, 2 in the east of the country and 2 in the south, all took place this year. Health officials are advising that the findings are preliminary, as the stillbirths have not yet been examined at an inquest. Master of the Rotunda is Fergal Malone.
We have looked after over 200 women in the Rotunda who have had COVID infection in pregnancy, and thankfully all have done well from a baby perspective.
An estimated 1,000 pregnant women contracted COVID in the last year. Head of the HSE's Women and Infants Health Programme, Professor Peter McKenna, says previous cases of stillbirths may be revisited.
I would imagine that many of them have been the placentas have been examined already, and this hasn't been seen. But yes, there might be a merit in looking back to confirm, has it happened before?
Pregnant women who've contracted COVID and are concerned about fetal movement are being advised to contact their hospital.
The level of COVID-19 is continuing to fall in every local electoral area in Waterford. In Tramore, the number of cases dropped by 60% during the 2 weeks from the 16th of February to the 1st of March. There were 22 cases in the area during that time. Waterford City South and Dungarvan were the only areas with incidence rates higher than the national average. In City South, the incidence was 311 after 70 cases were recorded during the fortnight ending on Monday. There were 48 cases in Dungarvan to give an incidence of 234. The national figure was 201 at the time. The Housing Minister says there's no guarantee that construction will be able to fully open on April 5th. Darragh O'Brien says he's hopeful there will be progress, but it's not certain. Here's our political correspondent, Sean Defoe.
The Department of Housing had been hopeful the construction sector would be able to reopen from today, but NEFIT advised against that this month, instead deciding to focus on the phased return of schools. The Taoiseach has said that getting back to home building in April is a priority for the government, but this morning Housing Minister Darragh O'Brien said that can't be guaranteed.
No, there's no guarantees. It will obviously be based on public health advice. The NEFIT advice that we made our decision on to extend the restrictions was very stark. We're operating with a new variant now, as you know, the UK variant, which is the predominance of the virus, over 90% of the virus. It's more transmissible.
Every week the wider construction sector remains closed. 700 to 800 homes are going unbuilt. Minister O'Brien says he believes that some of this will be made up later in the year, but privately some ministers concede that a serious housing hangover is being stored up while the country remains locked down. Sean Defoe in Balbriggan.
A Fianna Fáil councillor believes Waterford Council has missed a once-in-a-generation opportunity to improve the People's Park. There are calls for CCTV and public lighting to be installed at the facility. Councillor Jason Murphy says an alleged assault in the park this week has highlighted the need for the council to refocus on the amenity. He spoke to Damien Tiernan on Data Today.
I think we had maybe a once-in-a-generation opportunity. We could have made it a huge positive out of what is a negative COVID. We had a huge amount of resources that was going to defect us. I hate banging on about it, but we are spending 53,000 on an online St. Patrick's Day festival lighting up the buildings. And I hope it's a massive success. I hope everyone's looking at it online and sharing it. But I just think the money could have been better spent on a capital project, i.e. a refocusing on our People's Park that's used 365 days a year, not just one day, March the 17th.
It's hoped that a new office space complex will open in Waterford City next year. Riverspace overlooks Johns River and is located on South Parade between the People's Park and Waterside. It'll be supported by a 2,500 square foot cafe. The site was bought by the Mulligan Pharmacy Group. Its managing director is Ronan Mulligan.
The economy is now being powered by technology, and we want to give people a space to express themselves. The great thing about places like this is it empowers people, irrespective of age, background, experience, to participate fully in the new digital economy. So we're hoping this will become one of the drivers in Waterford and will support people in relocating to Waterford.
Driving tests for essential workers are effectively available on demand, according to the RSA. However, the Road Safety Authority is appealing to the public not to try game the system and says people are being turned away if they can't prove they're an essential worker. Extra driver testers are being trained in a bid to reduce the waiting time for others, which is now on average 25 weeks. The RSA's Brian Farrell says it could be next year before the delay in driving tests is reduced to 10 weeks.
We got sanctioned for 40 additional testers. They are currently in the process of being recruited. They'll be trained in the next month or two, and we'll have them on the pitch in June. And that will go some way towards addressing the backlog. But it's not going to be enough to get us down to that all-important 10-week national average waiting time commitment that we have.
UPMC Whitfield has opened a joint pain clinic that will operate from the WIT Arena for the month of March. Since lockdown, some people in significant pain have been unable to access care from their GP or physio. The clinic aims to cater to those in need of assessment and is open to both public and private patients. Claire Phelan's operations manager at UPMC Whitfield, she says there are plenty of people who are suffering in silence.
This is a real opportunity for people to have a rapid access, to have that quick assessment now around their joint pain. We all know that a family member or a family friend who has the niggle in the hip or the knee or the pain in the shoulder or the wrist, and they've been putting it off for quite some time, especially during this pandemic. So this is now an opportunity to come and have that quick access, to have that assessment and, take that first step to your treatment.
The Mount Sion Choir, featuring Ronan Keating, has released their version of the single This Is Your Song today to raise funds for the Marie Keating Foundation. This performance was recorded as part of the televised Concert for Cancer last August. This Is Your Song was written following the death of Ronan's mother Marie to breast cancer in 1998, and the proceeds of the single are being donated to the foundation. Choir director Colette Carney says it was amazing to get to shoot the video in Curramore Estate.
It was recorded last summer, and the video, for us, it is the most beautiful video we've ever made, because the Curramore Estate, it's just a jewel in Waterford, and a hidden jewel in many ways, because it was our first time I've ever been out in Portlaw, and that drone footage, and I think particularly the start of the video, is really stunning.
Make the smart play with Virgin Media. Check out their smart home packages at Virgin Media, George's Street, Waterford.
Sponsors of the sports news on WLR.
A very good afternoon from the Sports Desk. I'm Nigel Kelly. We are going to start with horse racing, where the Irish Horse Racing Regulatory Board is currently conducting its hearing into the Gordon Elliott photo controversy. The Meath trainer has faced calls for a ban after a picture emerged of him last weekend on a dead horse. It's led to him losing horses from his yard and the British Horse Racing Authority refusing to allow his horses to run in the UK. Elliott has apologised and is believed to be cooperating fully with the disciplinary process. On the track, however, this evening there are meetings later at Fairyhouse and Dundalk. While in soccer, Derek Williams has signed a new 2-year contract, or signed a 2-year contract even, with LA Galaxy after almost 5 years at Blackburn Rovers. The Tramore native is an American passport holder and will be added to the club's roster later this month when the transfer window opens. The 3-time capped Irish international says that Robbie Keane's recommendation played a large part in convincing him to move. While in rugby, Munster take on Connacht in the Pro 14 at Thomond Park this evening. Waterford's Jack O'Donoghue lines out in the back row alongside Chris Cluta and Gavin Coombs, with Billy Holland captaining the side. While Ben Healy and Craig Casey will form Munster's half-back pairing, and Joey Carberry is named on the bench for the second time in 2 weeks. While Connacht head coach Andy Friend has been able to name Irish international trio Bundy Akey, Ultan Dillane and Dave Heffernan in his starting 15, and it's a 7:35 start there. While Leinster and Ulster have named their teams for tomorrow's Pro 14 clashes in Belfast, Leo Cullen welcomes the back 4 players from Ireland camp for the top of Conference A clash, including Ross Byrne at out half, while Jacob Stockdale continues his return from injury to again start for Ulster, where Ian Madigan will start against his old team, while Cian Healy has signed a new contract extension with Leinster and Ireland. The 33-year-old prop, who has made 107 international appearances, has signed on until the end of the 2021-2022 season, and Healy has won 3 Six Nations titles and 4 European Cups. And in athletics, the European Indoor Championships are underway this weekend in Poland, and WLR Sports' Fintan Welch has more.
Phil Healy won our heat of the 400 metres in 52 seconds even, the fastest time of the heats, and is into the semi-final this afternoon. In the 800 metres, Nadia Power finished second in her heat and is safely through to the semi-final on Saturday. And this evening, Paul Robinson and Andrew Coscoran are in the 1500 metres final, and 3 other athletes compete in the men's 800 metre heats.
And finally in golf, Rory McIlroy is tied for the lead after round 1 of the Arnold Palmer Invitational on the PGA Tour in Florida. He's 6 under par after 66 at Bay Hill, and he shares top spot with Corey Connors, while Padraig Harrington is 2 under, Shane Lowry is 3 over, and Graham McDowell is 7 over par. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford.